Hi everybody, welcome back to our van build series. I am Mike and this is Sir Cedric, our 1988 Mercedes T1 Bremer, which we currently convert into an overlander camper van. Today it's finally time that we start building the furniture, and we will start from the back and work to the front. That means we start with the bed and the garage below the bed. But before we really start with the action, I want to show you a sketch of the intended layout. Our Mercedes 310 T1 has the medium wheelbase, which means that we have a space of 3.3 meter by 1.68 meter to work with. A width of 1.68 meters rules out a transverse position of the bed, of course. And 3.3 meter is not long either, as we want to have a permanent queen-sized bed, a kitchen with a gas cooker, big sink, big 60-liter refrigerator box, and enough counter space to prepare food. I also want to have a huge 125-liter freshwater tank, a diesel heater with 22-liter extra tank, and that's really space consuming, a real toilet room with a proper door, and of course we shouldn't forget a dining area with 2 comfortable seats and a table. If you try to put all of that in one van, you probably need a length of 4 meters. So we had to find a trick without compromising our wish list. And this trick is that we share some space between the bed and the kitchen. We still have a permanent bed sized 120 by 160 centimeter, which means we don't have to remove and store any of our pillows and blankets. But we can leave everything arranged on the bed even at daytime. The foot of the bed, that's a section of 70 by 160 centimeter, or better say 2 times 70 by 80 centimeter, is located on the kitchen counter at nighttime. At daytime, we put these 2 pieces of the mattress on the permanent part of the bed, and so they become comfortable backrests for sitting in the bed. The main kitchen counter is on the left side of the van and gets 2 different heights. The front section is 90 centimeter high. That's a standard kitchen height and contains the cooker and the sink. The cooker is so far to the front that it's already in the area of the sliding door, and that should be an advantage if you want to cook with the door open. The section in the back, which we use for our beds at night, is just 70 centimeter high. That's still okay to prepare food, but we didn't want to put the bed higher because we still want to sit comfortably in the bed without hitting the ceiling. The big fridge box will be opposite of the kitchen on the right side of the van and gets a big countertop which opens up. After the fridge comes the toilet room. We definitely want to have a room with a door to close. I really can't understand others with slide-out solutions who seem to feel comfortable taking a shit in the middle of the living room while being watched by their partners. Finally, there's the dining area in front of the toilet room, and this creates a very open-plan dining experience because we can open both sliding doors and then feel more or less like on a covered terrace. And even with the sliding door closed, we have the windows on both sides and can watch the outside world. Well, this van will be the quite opposite of these cave-style stealth campers, which would not be my cup of tea. Under the bed is a big garage. The front part of the garage will be used as wardrobe with access from inside the van. The 125-liter freshwater tank will be located in the center, which I think is better than putting a hefty 125 kilogram on one side of the van. The extra tank for the heater is located on the right-hand side behind the wheel arch, the heater itself left of the freshwater tank, and the rest of the garage is for storage. Finally, we will add some wall units, but not over the bed because I would hate hitting my head. Well, that's it. Now you know everything. After all these plans, let's finally start the build. We mount the bed on these L-shaped aluminium profiles which are bolted to the main steel beam of the van. For that, we already installed rivet nuts earlier. This is now a very solid and still lightweight base for the bed. On these aluminium profiles we put the bed slats, which we bought from Hansales. They come as a roll without frame, are 100% eco birch hardwood and are able to hold 350 kg without bending and breaking. We bought the premium version from Hansales, which means more but thinner slats in a size of 2 meter by 180 meter. Of course we need it smaller, so we cut the slats to a width of 1.68 meter. And we also cut off anything beyond the required length. Compared to any solid panel, These slats guarantee proper ventilation, especially in combination with my location of the heater, which sucks air from under the bed. So I would say these kind of slats are absolutely ideal for a van conversion. But they definitely need at least one support in the middle. For us, that is no issue because we will anyway build a structure for the tank and our wardrobe under the bed, which means 2 support panels each side of the tank plus a third panel for the wardrobe drawers. For these panels we use 12 mm poplar plywood. That's rather lightweight but can easily support the bed. For connecting the panels we use a 4.4 by 2.4 cm pine slat, and the slat is then bolted to the van using the anchor nuts which we placed in the frame of the floor. And if you remember the former videos, this frame was glued to the floor with Sikaflex 552. At the top the panels are connected with slats that are bolted to the aluminium profile. So the whole setup should be quite solid. The freshwater tank gets a proper tie down with 2 tension belts. The mounting points of the belt again use bolts in anchor nuts of the subframe, not just a screw in the plywood panel. The wall panels for the garage are made of 4 mm poplar plywood and get the same color finish like the other panels of the garage. For that we use Osmo Hard Wax Oil in transparent white, which is not really white but a quite natural tone. Other than the interior of the van, which will be white, we wanted to have this different color for the garage. On both sides we installed triple sockets for 5V USB, 12V and also 230V, so I can later charge any device stored in the garage. For installing the sockets I follow the wiring diagram, which is easy to understand even without prior knowledge in electric installations. Good to have is just a crimping tool for 12V cable lux. And for the 230V socket it's nice to have another crimping device for the end sleeves. Both of these tools are linked below. The brown and blue cables are for the phase and neutral wire. Yellow is the PE wire, which should be a bit longer, so it's the last wire to lose contact if anyone pulls on it. Gut, würde ich mal sagen. Finally, we use a corrugated plastic tube to protect the wires. For including a wardrobe in the front section, we take the bed structure out of the van again. As it can support itself, this is now an easy job of unbolting a few bolts. This charger unit is not only very handy, but I think also very stylish. And up here you have your 2 USB ports, then you have the 12V socket, a display which shows the voltage and a switch to turn it off and on. And another nice gadget which you can add is this light, LED light with a magnetic foot, which you can plug into your USB port. And then you have a strong light everywhere where you need it. You can put it everywhere in the garage, or you can put it outside of your van, just stick it at the side of your van when you have a tire problem at night. And I think that's really very nice and handy as well. And of course all the products that I use are always linked in the description below. Putting the bed/garage structure back in is also a job for a minute. I think it's convenient to build all furniture in a way that they can be easily removed for repairs if necessary. And then the last job for this video is preparing the mattress. We bought 2 foam mattresses from MFO called EcoFoam H2, that's the soft version, and EcoFoam H3, that's the medium hard version. They are 15 centimeters high and have 7 different zones for perfect sleeping, for sure better than the usual simple camper mattresses. And they are still much cheaper than any custom-made foam mattress. You can definitely save money and just cut the mattress yourself. The easiest way to cut foam is with a bread knife. Adjusting the cover coat is also not too complicated. Before cutting the fabric, we stitch down the zip at both ends. Then comes the bolt cut. And finally, top and bottom have to be joined by sewing them together. You could do that by hand, but my mom offered to help with her machine, and that's of course a million times faster and the result looks more professional. Now let's see how the two mattresses fit on the bed. Yeah, I would say it looks good, it is comfortable, so I am absolutely happy with that solution now. And please ignore if you can see these white panels here below, because that is already part of the wardrobe and will be something for the next episode. The foot of the mattresses we will do at a later time, because we want to find not this kind of white fabric, but we want to find something that is more colorful, more decorative, because we want to use that as backrests for daytime as well. Thanks for watching, and please let me know what you think about my layout, what do you like, or what you maybe build in a different way. And if you enjoyed the video, it would be great if you leave a thumbs up, because this channel is still very small and gets easily overlooked by the YouTube algorithm. And next time we build the wardrobe and the first two drawers, so if you don't want to miss that, please subscribe to the channel and see you next time.